Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is TCG Discussions coming to you today with a review of O10 Lumpur of the Blackbeard gameplay. This is going to be part of our series, so again this is going to be O10. I decided to record these games. We're probably going to post these out of order. We'll do these two games, and I think there's another game out of China that we need to do, and we'll probably go back to the O9 after that for the O10 ones. Now, I have actually seen both of the games that we're about to showcase here. This is game one of the Blackbeard game versus Doflamingo, and then the final against Lucci. We'll be recording both of these. These are very, very good games. Things happen in these games that I'm pretty sure nobody is really ready for Blackbeard to be able to do. I know for sure his opponents were probably flabbergasted. There we go. That's our Blackbeard player, Icy Fox. Now, this is going to be some of the cleanest play I think you're going to see of Blackbeard as well. Really showcasing the strength of the deck in O10 and showcasing that this matchup is no longer very hard for Blackbeard to win. With correct play, this deck is a force now and will quite honestly be very dominant. So Doffy forces him to go second, opens up Hachinosu. We pitch Shigan here, which I would normally be like, okay, this is kind of a problem, but due to the new tools that Blackbeard has in his hand already, it's not that big of a deal. One of the cards, there's a second one. This is getting kind of nuts, but you know, we want Doc Q here in this early game, which he's going to do that and play Lafitte. He leaves both standing, which is pretty interesting. Now, this Van Augur here is pretty good, so let's talk about a few things. The two new tools that Blackbeard got is a new 5-cost Kuzan that has the ability to be immovable. It can't be taken off the board by your opponent's card effects, and then it can sacrifice itself to draw a card and become anything. This Van Augur is what it's probably going to become. Additionally, they got an event card that KOs a 6 or less and a 4 or less if your opponent has 2 more cards than you on the board. So it's going to be pretty powerful, and it's going to come up here pretty shortly depending on how wide the board gets for Doflamingo. Now we are 5 wide here. This is pretty crazy. Additionally, for the Blackbeard, this would be kind of a situation where like all these cards get done here is going to be quite the problem. Now, if he has the Kuzan in hand, he already has the out with the Van Augur, or if he has another Van Augur in hand. Additionally, Lafitte maybe could become bait if Laboon is in his hand with the 5 Dawn. So Doffy stands here going incredibly wide with the Doffy effect to flop out the Boa, and then we have Piranha play standing. So like watch how he deals with this. This is pretty crazy. Pitches Liberation and grabs this new Liberation. There's the Kuzan, sacks itself to draw a card. The Van Augur reduces the Boa, KOs the Boa. Wow, what a play. And swings 5. So everything's kind of hunky-dory. Trashes Laboon. This is also something that I called out that he could have done, but he opted for the draws, and then these cards will also draw. Watch what happens here. Swings 8 over, draw. Swings 2 over, draw. And then passes turn, has this Law standing. Okay, so again, another Kuzan here will just be a Van Augur. He's going to do a top 3 search for a Hachinosu. Also, he can play the event here. I didn't even think about that. So the event will KO both of these. Blackbeard swings over this, and then a Lafitte search later, and most of this board is shored up. And then the next turn he can do Daku Kuzan things. Yep, and there it is. Blackbeard is a force man in this next set. I mean, that was a crazy wide board. If that was going on right now, I'm fairly certain Blackbeard would be in a lot of trouble if Doffy went that wide. You know, you would require like multiple Doc Qs and everything else to get over. And look at his hand size. He has 4 life and still 5 cards in hand because of all the drawing of the Doc Q and the Van Augur. Doffy again going for a wide stance. This is a swing that I think is very, very strong. If you're Doflamingo, you need to worry about this kind of line in your game. So instead of doing it attached to the leader to make a bigger swing, you can do a more wide stance swing by attaching to the teach to swing, and we get a double play of 4 here guaranteed. This is a very, very sharp line for you to have while still being aggressive. Discards 10 cost each for a Hachinosu search. Now the 10 cost, due to the new tools of Blackbeard, is a little less important in this matchup. We got the 5/3 here, 4 in hand. The defense of this is would be pretty bad. Got Kuzan trading himself off to play down Van Augur. Now if he has Doc Q and Vasco here, this is crazy. Oh my gosh. This is like game 1 of the CS review that we did. This is extremely clean. And again, look at this board. Now Doflamingo has to reshore this board up, and I can get rid of these, and these are all draws. 8/6, he lets it go to draw. Sengoku's gonna swing over, draw. 6 at life. This could be a 2K here. He probably has like 7 cards in hand. Now goes to 8. Gets all these options. We've got Sengoku and Gecko Moria 4 cost. Doffy player down to 3 cards in hand. We do a search here, grab the Liberation. This entire board's dead, pretty much. Especially if you had a Doc Q. We're getting rid of those 2. Now the requirement or this event to be activated is your opponent has to have 2 more cards than you, so he just had enough there. That's going to be kind of a skill gap. If the Blackbeard player attacks over one of the weaker cards and then there aren't enough cards for the event to activate, then this is something that Blackbeard players are going to need to play around. It's just changing your attack pattern. Doc Q. And sure enough, look at this. The whole board is cleared. Doffy's got 3 cards going to 4 with 3 life left. You can't make this up. And if he doesn't want to take the damage here, this will be flat draws. I assume he swung at a Doc Q, that's why he blocked. Now this is pretty simple. If he has 10 cost each here, he can just kill this and then negate the Jozu. I think though there are other options depending on what his hand is. It's massive, 3 or 4 cards still. He opts for Kuzan here. Gets a Van Augur. Got to activate Stronger. Pitch Laboon. Van Augur, KO Jozu. Swing over and make him replay cards to the board. We get a Lafitte search here. This is going to go from 3 to 4. Grabs another Kuzan. That deck is very thin, and I want to point something out here. If these cards both die, Blackbeard is going to be at 6 cards on this next draw. I mean, this is just a crazy amount of hand size that he's had throughout the game. Decides to go 7 at life and take a white stance. This is actually still very losing for Doffy here. The reason it's losing is because we can get rid of 110 cost each the other. Yep. If he could do a double replay again to KO both, this would be actually losing for Blackbeard. I think he needs to play the blocker here. Or a blocker, at least. Counting trash. If a Burgess came down here, I would not want to know how big it is. It would be frightening how big it would be. Yep. Now Doffy is going to probably try an all-in swing here. That's what I would do. Yep, and then it's blocked. The reason why you're attempting an all-in swing here is pretty relevant to the situation, so I'll explain why you kind of have to. That Tage can't live. On this next turn, you're going to get splits with everything, and attempting to KO this doesn't matter because this card is way too strong. If he has another Teach in hand, he's just going to repeat negate. But if you knock him to 1 here, he can't lethal you, forcing him to have to give you the block. The only issue is whether or not Icy Fox had the counter in hand to protect the card. It would require 2/2Ks, and he just used a Stronger and got rid of a Laboon on the previous turn to kill the Jozu. So the likelihood that he had the counter isn't very high, and if the guy goes to 0, he here, then he could Fimar straight through, meaning the Blackbeard player must block here and not try to win on the next turn on a split, because if these are all 2Ks and the Blackbeard misallocates Dawn, he could be in a lot of trouble forcing the block. Discards Burgess. Gets a 2K. Now the 10 cost, if he plays, it's going to be viable. Now, this is also a very interesting play. If the Blackbeard player goes wide enough with bodies here, it won't actually matter if he does knock him to 0 or not. Additionally, with this search here, searching the Van Augur off of the Lafitte, that's pretty much what he's signaling he's going to do, is just go wide and make it so that Doffy can't do anything. This card is going to die. Now, what's also important is that he sequences this right. So a lot of Blackbeard players will probably tap these cards right away to kill this. He searched the other Van Augur, will play that, use that one that can attack, and then attack with the Blackbeard in that. This could be 5-6 play Burgess here, which would be just completely painful. Looks like we're gonna get a 7 swing, 7-8. Doffy had one card in hand. Ow. I thought he had more than that. Thought he had like 3. Yeah, that's pretty much a call out. Now, the question is what I read on cue the card I'm about to talk about, he flips up. The question is if you're Doffy, what could you do here? Actually, Gravity Blade right here would be pretty losing for Blackbeard. This is unfortunate. It's right here. If he Gravity Blades both of these and knocks him to 0, these cards are far too weak to go for game next turn. I mean, Lafitte would be the card you'd have to attack with. So this would probably be like, what would that be? 7 Dawn, 8-8. And there's another life and 3 cards in Doffy's hand. Now that's just really hurtful. And see, he plays a dead card Weevil with 3 in hand, 1 in life. You're telling me that Doflamingo won't have 2Ks worth of counter among 4 cards? Yeah, right. Get out of here. So the Gravity Blade actually would have been winning for Blackbeard if he had it, but this is now completely losing for Doffy. 7 swing he had to take. Got the test 7 here. This takes 2 cards, reduces it down to 1. That means 7's guaranteed to game. So Icy here with a very dominant win with Blackbeard. I don't think I've ever seen such a wide board destroyed by Blackbeard before. If this is anybody's first time seeing this, just beware that Doflamingo just doesn't win this matchup for free anymore. In 010, Blackbeard is the monster, you're not anymore. The question is whether or not is Blackbeard better in certain other matchups, and that's the issue that people are going to need to figure out and solve. But this looks so convincing to me, the way that he played this and executed down the stretch of this game, that this may not be number 1, he may be. And furthermore, the punishes to this are pretty random. Like, Gravity Blade could be a thing, but I mean, think about this. The Doflamingo player was 5 wide and lost everything, then went 4 wide and lost everything, and then just basically was pigeonholed down to a couple cards. He was discarding literally every single turn, and to top it off, the amount of cards that he had in his hand down the stretch of this game was immense. On the first curve in playing Hachinosu, he didn't get an extra card, and he had to go -1 in hand to play stage. That is how much draw advantage between the KOs of these and the Kuzans he generated as replacements and value swings in getting rid of Doffy's cards. That Kuzan's going to truly be an exquisite card for us. If you're the Doffy player, did you do anything wrong? And the answer in this game is actually no. There really wasn't anything that you can point to. Shoring up the board was actually getting to be kind of pointless because of how easy Blackbeard was recycling his resources. Additionally, Gravity Blade was just the only necessary piece here, and unfortunately it was on the top of his deck. This was a down to the wire convincing win on Blackbeard's end. And I say down to the wire because of how low life they were. The convincing aspect of it is how wide Doffy's board was and how it resulted in a W for Blackbeard. I mean, that opening start of going 5 wide, 3 1-drops here, Boa, and then a 1-drop, and then I think there were 2 4-drops eventually. I mean, just my lord. The new event came online and displayed its power perfectly here. It's almost as if they created the event so that Blackbeard actually had a decent tool to fight Doflamingo's wide stance. But both played this very, very well. The Doflamingo there had to have the awareness that he needed to all in the Blackbeard to get the blocker, which was a very good play on his part to give him his marks. Additionally, this grab blade, he puts it on top of his leader saying, "Deck, please, I was one card away." Yeah, this was an extremely good game, showcasing the power of what Blackbeard will be. So for those of you who don't believe in it now, believe in it later, because it's super scary. That's going to be it for this one. We're going to review the finals against Lucci with this same player, Icy Fox, and we will catch you guys in the next one. This is Marcus from TCG Discussions signing off. Laters.